screen. No, just in this one. Looks like oh, we're about to be able to see this. All right. No, we won't. No, we won't. Try it. Try it. Hey everyone. I see more people coming in by the second, but I just wanted to begin by thanking everyone for taking some time today. We all know you have busy schedules, but we feel that this 20 to 30 minute webinar will be highly beneficial for you and your small business. Right now I'm seeing Alicia, Andrea, Carol, uh, Deborah, Eileen, Kayla, Phil, and Victor Yee signed in. So naturally there will be a couple of latecomers, but that's okay. I'd just like to kick off the webinar. As you can see on page one, we are focusing today on the essential elements of great copy. Again, this will help you attract and convert more customers. Today is Thursday, August 9th, 2012, 1 p.m. Pacific time. I will host the webinar and then pass it off momentarily here to our featured speaker, Arfa. She runs a company called Arfa Writes. It's a copywriting agency, and she's based out in the UK. I'm going to move on to the second slide here in 1 second. So as most of you know, if you're members or non-members, that we here at GroupPrice, we focus on resources for small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs. And our goal is day to day is to help you find and buy great products and services that are tailored for your small business. Purchase those at a very deep discount. If you visit our category page, you'll notice that we have categories like advertising, design services, IT, online marketing, etc. Some of our best deals are on average discounted about 50 or 60%. And we like to partner and focus on companies that have a very straightforward product and service, again, that is tailored for the small business owner or startup. And typically that it's very low implementation costs for the buyer. So what does that mean? I mean, we want to focus on software, SaaS products that are easy to get, easy to understand, and you can purchase and execute in less than 30 minutes and start seeing results anywhere from 30 to 60 days down the line. And that's the value that we're bringing to the table for our members and our buyers. So this third slide is just introducing Arfa, again, the speaker. She runs a company, Arfa Writes Copyright, and she's going to talk a little bit about the purpose of copyright and how she can derive value for you and your small business. Arfa, if you'd like to take it away, feel free.
Okay, hello everyone. As Anthony's just said, my name is Arfa and I run Arfa Rights, and I'm calling in from the UK at the moment. So it's actually evening time for us, but great to have everyone on the call. So I'm going to kick off with the purpose of copywriting. So what is copywriting? Copywriting is essentially salesmanship in print, and what the basic aim is to connect companies and brands to their customers. And what you're actually wanting to do with every single piece of copywriting that you actually have is you're wanting your prospect or your client to take some form of an action. But the end benefit is always to make more money. Now, there is a bit of a myth that you can just knock up any old copy and get that up and get some response. But in truth, the reality is that if you have poor copy, it's going to give you a poor response rate, which means little or no sales, and therefore very little or no money. However, if you invest in good copy, you'll get a higher response rate, and that equals more money, which is ultimately the aim of what everyone wants. So next slide, please.
Great.
Okay, So what are the elements of great copy? Well, the basic elements include, and are not limited to, but this is really what we sort of have in most direct mail pieces, a lot of pieces of copy that are online. You have the pre-headline, which comes just before your headline, and that's usually to qualify the prospect. Your main headline is your attention-grabbing headline or your hook to pull people into your copy. Subheadlines help to break up the text, and they actually draw draw your eye to pieces of the copy that you actually want people to notice, and helps it stand out. Body copy is basically, it's your main copy, so it's all the bits in between the subheadlines and the problems and the solutions and everything else. We always outline the problem, because in order for you to present your solution, you need to outline the problem for your clients. And when you introduce a solution, we usually do that through a series of benefits, and I tend to do it through bullets. You can have them in short paragraphs, but I always find that bullets are always a great way to actually show benefits and actually highlight them on the page. You will always have your price and your guarantee, because if you have a great guarantee, it's going to lower your refund rate, and at the end you want a strong call to action. And you'd be surprised the number of pieces of copy that I've actually seen that have all these elements, but then they have the strong call to action which is missing, and that actually lowers your response rate. So next slide, please. Okay, so pre-headlines. Pre-headlines come before the main headline, and the purpose is to qualify the prospect. So for example, I might have something which says along the lines of attention health coaches, consultants and trainers. And that's a simple way to ensure that the intended person is reading your message, and anyone who doesn't fit that particular section will just click away. And actually that's what you want. You only want those people who are interested in your product, in your services, and who are your ideal clients to actually be clicking onto your copy and further reading down. So that's precisely what the aim is. Moving on to headlines. Your main headline has to be attention grabbing, because in truth, when people come to any piece of copy, whether it's online or whether it's offline, you've literally got anywhere between 5 and 7 seconds to grab your prospect's attention and literally stop them dead in their tracks. Now, a great way to have a look at the type of headlines that really stand out is somewhere like the Huffington Post, or to have a look at Google News, because obviously they use attention grabbing headlines all the time. And you've got to think of it like this: if you fail to grab your prospect's attention, they're not going to read the rest of your copy, and if you're online, they're just going to click away. And so this is really what you don't want. So to get yourself some ideas, always go look at magazines, look at newspapers, look at your competitors, see what's working for them. So here's something that I actually picked off the Huffington Post, and this grabbed my attention straight away. Telling fewer lies improves mental and physical, sorry, I can't see that, physical health, sorry. And that was picked from the Huffington Post. And it's a great way to actually glean ideas for your own copy and use what's working in your own. So next slide, please. Okay. The best headlines, they make you curious, okay? So they give a key answer or a solution to the customer's problems. They give a key benefit of the product, and a good rule of thumb is that you need to pick the biggest benefit of your product and service and use that in your headline. Okay, so a lot of people, they don't actually know how to write headlines properly, and I would always say to them, whatever is your USP or the biggest benefit that you offer in your products or in your services, that's what you should use in your headline. And try and be as precise as you possibly can. Never be vague. So if you can quantify the exact results. So if you've got something that has a time limiter in it, like you're solving a problem in X number of days, say that you're solving the problem in X number of days. Okay. So, for example, if a prospect doesn't emotionally connect with the headline, you're going to lose them completely, and you can actually use this to your benefit in your actual headline. So, can we have the next slide, please? Sorry. So, one of the key things to remember is that prospects will always buy on emotion, and they justify with logic later. Okay. So here's an example of an attention-grabbing headline: "Beware, 4 common drugs that could send you to the ER." Now, from an emotional point of view, you would want to know exactly what are those drugs that are going to send me to the ER, and that would actually that's like a hook. It literally hooks you into the copy, and it makes you want to read. And you can further strengthen that by using subheadlines such as, you'd be surprised, health experts were too. Now that's really piqued my interest, and it really wants me to actually keep on reading. So we're going to have a look at some example headlines, and I've just put together a few that I actually created for my own product. It was a product that I developed to actually help babies sleep through the night, and this is how I actually create headlines. So next slide, please. Okay, so here's what I started with. Help your baby sleep through the night. Now, I'm sure most of you will actually agree with me here that it's not very compelling. Of course, it's giving a solution, but it's not really enough. So, I'd like to, make that a lot more interesting. So I'm going to give an exact figure here. How to get your baby sleeping 12 hours through the night. Okay. Now, even though that's looking a little bit better, I still don't think that's good enough because there's no emotional attachment here. So here we go. Fed up with sleepless nights, get your baby sleeping 12 hours through the night. Okay, so you can see that that's now starting to take shape. I actually think that we can go a little bit further and we can really, really twist the pain, really amp the pain up. So the next line would be, fed up of sleepless nights, stress no more, and end the agony of sleep deprivation by getting your baby sleeping 12 hours through the night quickly and easily. Now, I'm sure you can see just from looking at the first headline that we started with and moving on to this one now, this one is a lot more compelling because we've got a real pain point here, and that is sleep deprivation. Of course, nobody wants to be sleep deprived, and that would want to make you, read further. However, we can actually strengthen this a lot more by adding in a time limiter. So, for example, on the next one is fed up of sleepless nights, stress no more, and end the agony of sleep deprivation for both you and your baby by getting your baby sleeping 12 hours through the night in as little as 7 days. Okay, so now here what we've done, and I don't know about you, but if you were a parent who was going through the trauma of having a baby that was crying all night, I think that would probably make you want to click on that and you'd probably want to buy it. And the reason why is because not only are you saying to everybody that, I can help you get your baby sleeping all night long, but we don't actually know when that's going to happen. Is it going to be today? Is it going to be next week? Is it going to be a few months down the line? And here I'm actually saying I can do it in as little as 7 days. I can help you do this in as little as 7 days. And, also to really drive home the pain points here, it's agony not just for you because you're losing the sleep, but also for your baby. So that nurturing instinct as a parent would instantaneously, it would kick in because no one likes to think that their baby's going through any type of stress, and that's exactly what the headline is implying. So that's an example of a very powerful headline. So moving on to subheadlines. Subheadlines, they draw your eyes to very important sections of the copy. And I like to sprinkle them in for added emphasis, especially when you're trying to highlight a particular point or you're trying to show something, maybe your bullets or the next part of the copy. It's a great way to help break up long text. And I'm sure you guys have seen long sales letters, and they can actually be quite tiresome to read. So it's actually easier on the eye, and it makes the whole piece a lot more readable. The other thing that subheadlines help to do is it really helps to build momentum in the copy. So, you'll get people who, for example, when you have direct mail pieces or even letters online, they'll be flicking through, they literally skim through the letter. And, if you have a really catchy subheadline, it's going to draw their eye to that piece, but it's also going to help move them forward. Now, the key thing to remember with subheadlines is the same way that you would have a compelling headline, do the same with your subheadlines. Okay, make them compelling and attention grabbing, and don't insert them into the copy for the heck of it because it really does lose impact. So that's really not what you want. So moving on to body copy. Okay, body copy is the rest of the text basically. So what you need to be doing is you need to keep the copy engaging and interesting. So insert some facts in there if you can. Always back up with statistics, with facts, figures. Always be exact with whatever numbers that you can provide. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to educate prospects. So if there's a secret that they could learn, maybe put that into it. and always keep it flowing. Go from one paragraph to the next. So your body copy should actually have a logical order. So in the same way that you would actually have a story where you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, the same is true for your body copy. Okay, so add stories or anecdotes wherever you can, because there is a very good saying that facts tell but stories sell, and the same is true in copy. And the best copy is actually the type of copy that is story focused or story based. And over the last few years especially, I've seen a demand for, a lot of clients are coming to me and they're asking me, I want more story orientated copy rather than just having boring cold facts, because there's nothing compelling about that. It's always better to connect when you have a great story. Now, a great sort of tip here is to always keep your sentences and your paragraphs short, and that's because it just makes everything a lot easier to read. Don't waffle, so cut to the chase. So a great way to actually do that is, once you've actually written out your body copy, go through it again. Is there any paragraphs in there that really, are they adding to the copy, or are they just there for the sake of it? If they're there for the sake of it, just cut them out. And always be precise with your facts and figures, because if you just say, oh, well, this has been proven to do this, can you insert an actual quotation? Is there something that you can, is there an actual number that you can put in? So, instead of saying a high percentage of people do this, can you actually say 47% of people do this? Okay, so that actually helps you stand out as an expert in what you're doing, and rather than just some pie in the sky thing that you've just plucked out of the air and you're saying, oh, well, you don't really know what you're talking about. Okay, so moving on to outlining the problem. So one of the things that you need to do is, in your copy, the whole point of your copy is to present a solution. But in order to present a solution, you have to outline the problem first. So what are the main problems that the prospect is facing? And always think in terms of the end consequences to the problem. So what's keeping them awake at night? And I actually use bullets to illustrate illustrate the problem, simply because it makes it a lot more powerful. So, for example, if you're trying to sell loans, then your real problem is that you don't have enough money. Okay, everybody knows that that's the reason why you want a loan. But what are the consequences of that loan? What are the end consequences? So the consequences of not having enough money is that you're going to get into debt. You're going to have arrears on bill payments. You're going to lose your house. You're going to struggle to survive. You can't give kids their necessities, and so on and so forth. And so when you use things like this in your copy, it makes it a lot more powerful than just saying, oh, you'll have money to be able to buy what you want, because that in itself is not going to motivate you or push you towards taking a particular action. So when we introduce the solution, which is on the next slide, your solution should always solve the biggest problem or frustration for the prospect. Okay, so, and one thing to remember here, and I think this is a very very powerful way to actually help actually present your solution, is that people will go to great lengths to avoid pain. So when you say to somebody, oh, if you lose weight, I'm just giving you an example here, if you lose weight, you're going to look great. That in itself is usually not a motivation enough to actually help them lose the weight. However, if you say to them that, if you don't lose weight, you're going to die of a heart attack next week, trust me, they're going to get up and they're going to do something about it. Okay? So always, think that pleasure in itself isn't a strong enough motivator to make a decision. So what you should do is you should really turn up the pain, and then use bullets to explain the benefits of the solution that you're actually offering. So moving on to benefits. Benefits are very similar to headlines in the sense that they've got to be really compelling. But one thing that I will say to you straight away, for any, I've worked with countless business owners who, when I've actually restructured their copy, the first thing I've done is 9 times out of 10, I completely scrap whatever benefits they've given. And that's because it's always about that company. It's always about them. We've been in business for 30 years. Well, actually, nobody cares. Okay, I know that sounds really harsh, but the truth of the matter is prospects don't care about you. If they've never heard of you, they don't actually care. What they care about is what's in it for them. And you should always ask yourself, when you're writing copy for yourself, always ask yourself, what's in it for me? If I was the prospect, what would I want from this? And take it from there. So one of the things that you need to do is you need to distinguish between a feature and a benefit, because I've seen copy, I've seen this so many times. Um, you know, Features are what is a description or it's an attribute of what a product does. So 16 megabytes, for example, that's a feature. Okay. Benefits is how the feature or the feature will actually benefit you. Okay, so 16 megabytes. Well, what's that in real terms? I mean, I'm just hazarding a guess here, but that could be 200 songs that I can actually store on my laptop. Okay, so there's the difference between a feature and a benefit. And actually, Apple used this really well when they released the iPod. They didn't say that we've got X amount of gigabytes or however many gigabytes we can store on here. What they said was we've got 4,000 songs in your pocket. So you can connect with that. People usually can't connect with features. Most people actually connect with the end benefits of that particular feature. So, always write your benefits as bullets. So the next slide, please. So always write the benefits as bullets, because it just makes it a lot easier to read and a lot easier to digest. And it also makes it easier to find. So if you have a particularly long piece of copy, maybe a long sales letter, maybe you've got a direct mail piece, and people, they just want to get to know what is it that this product or this service is going to do for them. Bullets are a great way to actually help them instantly see what it is that it's going to do for them. Okay, and there is a formula for a great bullet, and that is your feature plus an advantage of the feature plus a benefit, and you're going to want to write this down. Plus the benefit of the benefit equals great bullets. So let me explain that with an example. So next slide, please. So I'm taking the example of a face cream, okay, and it contains an SPF of 15. That's just a feature because it just tells me what it is, okay. So now I want the advantage of that particular feature. So what's the advantage? And that is that it protects against the sun. Now I want a benefit of that. So the next bullet would be SPF 15 to protect against the sun and prevent premature aging, sun damage, and pigmentation, because that's the benefit of that particular feature. If you can, layer a benefit upon a benefit. So what is the end benefit of that particular benefit? And this is a trick that I actually picked up from Clayton Makepeace, because he does this and this is what he teaches. Always layer benefits upon benefits. So the end benefit would be SPF 15 to protect against the sun and prevent premature aging, sun damage, and pigmentation, so you look younger. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to use some really compelling language in there. So I've got the basis of a really good bullet there, but I can really help snazz that up a bit. So here's what I've got. SPF 15 protects against the sun, preventing premature aging, sun damage, and pigmentation, knocking years off so you look younger than your age for years to come. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but if I saw that on the back of a face cream, trust me, I'd be buying that. So, this is the example of what a really good bullet can do, a really good benefit bullet can do for your product or service. So moving on to the price and the guarantee. Never ever introduce the price without justifying the end benefits. So always, go through your benefits in detail first. It's almost like building up a case for your product or service, and then you introduce the price. Okay. Now, one thing that I will actually say to you is, particularly if you're selling online, always test different price points for smaller products. And the reason why I say that is from a direct response point of view. If you have something that is extremely cheap, people may not see the value in that and they may not be inclined to buy. Whereas if you have something that's slightly higher in value, people might think, oh, well, it's got to be good in order for it to be that particular price. And obviously, if you have a really high price point, then people are thinking, oh, well, that's a premium thing. So if you can, split test your pricing, okay, and see which one works for you. And, you'd be surprised that, it's not always the lower price that converts better. Sometimes it is actually the higher price point that converts better, but you're not going to know that until you test that. So one thing that you should actually take into consideration is that if you do have a larger price point, so you have a particular, I don't know, product or service that has a high investment level, you will actually need more justifying. Okay, so you'll need more bullets, you'll need more benefits, and you'll need more of a reason to give your prospects to actually think about. One of the cardinal sins of copy is that when you have something that's worth thousands of dollars and you're trying to sell it, and there's hardly any information, there's just basic information, but it's not enough. You always need to dig a little deeper and connect on a more emotional level with your prospect. So always remember that people will always, they buy on emotion and they justify with logic later. Now, a very surprising thing about guarantees is that the longer the guarantee, the less refunds you have. And this has actually been proven. Okay, the shorter your guarantee, the higher your refund rate. And I'll tell you why. It's a psychological thing. If you have a long guarantee, it puts people into a sense of security. They're thinking, oh, well, I've got plenty of time to actually do whatever it is that I need to do, check out this product, check out this service. And the likelihood is they're going to forget about it. B, they're going to think, oh, well, you know what, this product must be good if the guarantee is really, really long. And therefore, it keeps the refund rates low. On the other hand, if you have short guarantees, say, for example, you have 30 days, there are people who are serial refunders and they'll actually mark it on their calendar. And honestly, this is true because, this has all been scientifically proven that if you have a very short guarantee, the refund rate goes straight up through the roof. And that is because people are worried or they're scared that that particular product or service or whatever it is, it's not going to work for them. Sometimes they don't even give it a chance. And within days, you've got a refund. Okay, so just remember that the longer the guarantee, the better, and the lower the refund rate. So moving on to the last slide. So to end your copy, you want a strong call to action. And the way you do this is you tell your prospect exactly what to do next. So if you want them to call you, tell them, call us on this particular number and do it now. If you want them to email you, tell them, email me here and then give the email address. If you want them to hit a buy it now button, tell them what to do. Tell them exactly what to do. If you are telling them to go to an order page, make it stupid simple for them. Tell them, click on this link, go to the order page, fill out your details, and then hit the submit button. Spell it out for them. You'd be surprised, actually. I worked with one particular business where the guy had actually, I kid you not, he'd written a fantastic piece of copy. I was actually quite impressed. And he said to me, it's not converting. Straight away, I read it and I said to him, you forgot to put a call of action in. And he was honestly, he was laughing his head off because he was thinking, oh my God, I put all this. Literally, he put days and weeks of effort into this one piece of copy and he'd forgotten to actually tell them what to do. So just by implementing that one thing, he was able to improve his response rate dramatically. Okay, so if you don't ask for the sale, you're not going to get it. And one of the great ways to actually, when you're actually asking for the call to action, when you're actually telling them what to do, is very quickly reiterate the main problem and tell them the biggest benefit of your solution. Okay, so you'll often see this when you see infomercials. They'll have like a closing statement. So if you want XYZ, then call this number now. And basically, they'll just reiterate or recap whatever it is that you've actually told them earlier on in the copy, and then you ask for the sale. And these are the elements that I would have as a barest minimum in any type of copy. And trust me, if you don't have all of these elements, you're going to see a decline in your response rates. But when you start adding these elements in, you're going to see hopefully a lot better conversions. So that's the end of the presentation. I'm going to pass it over back to Anthony.
Thank you, Arfa. That was a great delivery. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
We are at the part of the webinar where we're opening it up for question and answers. So if anyone has any question or questions, feel free to include it in your chat area, and then I will go ahead and verbally ask them to Arfa, and she will answer. So I'll give it about 1 minute here. I know we're a little tight. It is 1:33 p.m. Pacific time, so we went a couple minutes over. But again, if you have questions, feel free to answer them, and Arf will be more than ask them, and Arf will be more than happy to answer them. In the meantime, just want to remind you that ARFA does have a deal on GroupPrice for GroupPrice members. It's a 63% off one-of-a-kind landing page / homepage creation, which usually offers this to her existing customers and new customers at $800. She sells it through GroupPrice for $299, so it's a deep discount. And I would encourage you to visit the webpage, learn more about it. One question that came up during the presentation was from Phil. He was asking if the slides will be available on demand. The answer is absolutely yes. You can reach out to me, Anthony Anthony at groupprice.com, and I will send you the YouTube link as well as the recorded version of the slides. I have first question here by Evan. His question, Arf, is what's your number one suggestion when you are restricted in copy size, specifically Google AdWords ads?
Okay, so what I would actually say to you is to have your attention grabbing headline and always make that the biggest benefit. Grab, whether it's curiosity that's grabbing them, the biggest benefit, a hook, something that pulls them straight in. Because when you're doing AdWords, you literally only have a few words to make your impact. So always try and think. So if, for example, if you're doing like a weight loss product, you might be something like lose 20 pounds in 30 days, click here. And it has to be, make it very compelling, give them a reason to actually want to click on your link. Because if you're not able to convey whatever you need to say in those few words, you're going to lose them completely. And if you can, try and insert as much curiosity as you can in there. Be specific with limits, with numbers. So use days, or you're doing you can achieve X result in X number of days or X amount of time. That's always a very powerful way to actually get people to connect with you, and they're looking for a solution. So that's what they're going to be looking for.
Great. Thanks for that, Arthur. Does that answer your question, Evan? If so, great. If not, you always feel free to follow on that through the chat. Next question is coming from Amber Sky. She asks, how many characters and paragraphs should a homepage have?
Okay. What I would say to that is there isn't actually a fixed rule. My From working with the businesses that I've worked with, the homepage should really it should your homepage should actually have an attention grabbing headline, and it should be an overview of your business or maybe a highlight of one particular product. And your copy really is as long as it needs to be. You don't want it to be so long that you're going to lose them, but it's got to be quite precise. So whatever the point of your homepage is, or whatever the point of your landing page is, stick to that. And if people want to learn more, you can always invite them to learn more, but there is no limit. You don't want it too short. I would say that as long as it's above the fold, even if you're having to scroll a little, that's okay. But what you don't want, and what I would strongly advise against, is pages and pages and pages that you're having to scroll through. So keep your message as succinct as possible, but make it precise, and definitely it has to be compelling, because otherwise they will just click away.
Great. Thank you. Next question from Victor Yu. How should graphics and video play into a content page?
Okay, that's a really good question, actually. When you have something like a landing page or even on a home page, your video should actually be above the fold. Okay, so what do I mean by above the fold? When somebody is clicking onto your website, they should not have to scroll down to see your video. Your video should ideally be placed up near the top where people can see it, and they can see it very clearly. One thing that they should be able to see on the screen is they need to be able to see your headline. And if you've got subheadlines, they should be able to see that too. Your videos, I've seen plenty of websites where they've got it central on the page, and I've seen lots of sites where they've actually got it on the right-hand side of the page. If it's a column type website, either will work fine, but please try not to have it below. If they're having to scroll, it's not always a good thing, because people might never actually scroll, they might never see the video, so it actually loses the impact. And the same goes for your graphics as well. Use graphics only to enhance your copy, but not to actually take over, because people are not going to buy something just because the graphics look good. At the end of the day, they're looking for a particular solution to their problem, so that's what they're going to go for.
Right? And Eileen Conway, she asks, is there a recommended headline length, i.e. number of words or characters?
No, there isn't. Um, I have seen headlines that are so long, you'd be shocked that they were even headlines. I think the longest I've ever seen is 2 sentences, which is actually quite long. What you're trying to convey, the biggest benefit that you're trying to convey, might only take a few words. It might take a full sentence. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that your message is complete. So that's the most important thing. Don't ever have a limit on the number of words, because it's like delivering a presentation. It's like a salesman coming to your door, delivering a presentation, and then you shutting the door on him and you're not listening to the rest of it. So, you don't ever want to cut people off or cut words off for the sake of it. Always have whatever you need to have to actually get the message across.
Thanks, Arfa. And I believe that concludes the Q&A session. Again, Arfa can be reached at arfawrites@hotmail.com. I believe you see that on your screen there. I can be reached, Anthony, at groupprice.com. The video, YouTube, and slideshow will be available by email. What I will do is um, I will jot down the list of all attendees today and send you an email of that link. Again, we appreciate your time today. One last slide, little special order that Arthur's given away here. If you order Arthur's deal today, you get a free website critique from her, $250 value, which includes, Arthur, maybe you can speak 10 to 15 seconds on those bullet points and the value to that.
Yeah, basically, if you guys order my deal today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick recording of your website, and I'm going to give you a critique. So I'm actually going to show you how you can improve your particular site. I'll show you where you are on Google and what keywords you can be using. So it's a really great way to actually improve your online presence. So I'll be looking at content keywords, SEO, search ranking, that kind of thing. I'm also going to give you a free 63-page PDF book. It's called Killer Conversion Secrets. I actually sell this on my site for $27, but if you order today, you're going to get that from me. And that's basically, it's going to show you how to tweak your own copy to improve conversion rates.
Perfect. Well, again, Arfa, we appreciate it on behalf of Group Price and our members. Again, we appreciate your time and delivery.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very helpful. This is something that Group Price will obviously use and need. So we'll be in touch on a personal level as well. Again, guys,
Fantastic.
thanks for signing in. You have a great day. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks, and we will keep you posted via email and social media with that. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.